Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Marsh Consulting channel, and welcome to another client interview. This time it's with my good friend called Andrew. I'm super happy that at this point I can already call him a friend. He basically doubled his profits within the first month of working with Marsh Consulting, and he's had an incredible journey, let's say it like this, with us. So without further ado, let's straight up cut into the interview, and I'll see you in there. Right, hey everyone, and welcome to another client interview. This time it's with my, I would even say at this point, good friend Andrew. He runs a school in Florida. And yeah, without further ado, Andrew, why don't you just go ahead, introduce yourself, tell the people what martial arts you do, etc., etc.
Okay, I'm Andrew Bemmer. I guess I run Gracie Hernando over here in Spring Hill, Florida, and yeah, we've been working together since June
June, end of
officially.
June.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. To be fair, I have to tell that I just threw Andrew into this, so I was like, I'm just gonna press record, and we're just gonna start this. So it may be a little bit chaotic, but I think we should be good. Cool, that's fantastic, Andrew. I remember we first spoke, I think, in February, and I was like, man, you have to come on board, but you were like, nah, I'm already doing something else, it's already going good. And then you booked another call later on, and then you kind of came aboard later on, which is kind of a cool story. So why don't we just start early on? Like you've been open up for I think a year. Like what did you do at first to get new students, and like what did your school basically look like? Let's say like 6 months from now or a year from now, basically in the beginning.
Yeah. So when I first started, um, I had GoPro, a popular, um, very popular lead generating service here, and at least amongst my affiliations slash in Florida, I even think. But yeah, so I mean, I told you before you were only beat out by referral. Like everybody that I knew was using GoPro. One of my biggest mentors currently was the one that set it up and told me about him anyway. So he's very running a very successful gym, and I don't at the time he wasn't running ads anymore. So I guess I kind of could have just taken it as that because he wasn't even using the company at that time, but he just referred them. And everything you did and said sounded really good. And I told you that I have no doubt in my mind that you'd be successful in the future and that you would be doing great things, but you were just beat out by referral. I think this guy that I know and trust, I don't know you at all. And this guy that I've been training with and doing things with for years now told me that these are the best people in the area. And so I believed him. And then, next thing you know, now he's joining your,
Yeah, he's yeah. Like I think like he's already on board. Just like as a side note, but that's a story for a different day. Um, Cool, that sounds fantastic. And like, did they run any ads for you, or did you also back then like only rely on like your website? Just like his name is Robbie, just like Robbie. Did you also like didn't run any ads, like only relied on like your website and stuff like that? Because I think you've told me about that a little bit. That it was like you did run ads in the past, but didn't you tell me you then had to take care of the follow ups yourself, if I'm not mistaken? There
yeah, so
or
that's what it's always been. So GoPro only like brings you in leads and they just bring in leads. They don't even make them appointments and they don't book them as appointments or anything. You kind of have to do all of that yourself. Um, but I guess I think they offer that service is just significantly more money. I was running ads with them, and for the first 4 months, it was really good. And then the beginning of the next year, so from like August to October, November was really good. Then December, January on to February, yeah, March-ish is when they kind of trickled down. I actually turned their ads off for 3 months. Um, in the past, I think it was like 3 months before I talked to you,
hmm,
and because I was getting the same leads, I was getting like 8 to 6 like appointments booked or new members booked or signed up a month, and with leads and without leads. So I did it for 3 months without leads or without ads, and I got the same exact amount of signups as I did with ads at that time. And so I was like, this is stupid. So I was like, you know what? It can't get any worse than it is currently. So let me just give this a meal guy a shot and see how they can change it. Plus, you have the convenience of doing all of the booking and appointments and all that other stuff. It took a lot of things off of my shoulders. And
hmm.
yeah, it kind of seemed like a no brainer at that point. I'm like, there can't get any worse. This guy offers a lot more things. And the worst he could do is this. but he's also being convenient and doing all this other stuff for me as well. So
I appreciate it. All right, let's get into the interesting part. So you came on board, I think it was the end of May. We started like everything in the beginning of June. So what would you say was the biggest thing that has changed, like since you basically started working with us, and like how has it helped you? What do we do? And like, yeah, let's cover. Let's start there.
I mean, the coolest thing to see was the immediate 2x of the was it that first month we like doubled our profit or revenue, I should say, doubled our revenue of the gym, which I guess in turn doubled profit too. Yeah, so we went from like eight, 7,000 or something that month, the previous month, to like hitting 14, $15,000 the next month. Um, Immediately, and it's just been growing from them. I think if we stay on pace with this, we'll probably 3x in October. Um, and yeah, so that was crazy. And then also the obvious headache of having to answer phone calls and leads all day long, and um, people blowing your phone up. I get constant messages and like everything, and that was a that was just I don't know. It was just like taking one more step to making my gym like running itself rather than me being happy to be present in it. And yeah, that was the two biggest things. I think making it to where that you dealt with all the phone calls and dealt with all the appointments. And actually, I think it's also the awesome thing was it took a step out of the process, because usually it's like you have this many leads, half of those people become appointments, half of those people will show, and you'll still have them. But now it's just like all the people that come through are appointments, so it just takes out one of those little barriers to entry, I guess. So they are already appointments. Now we have to work. Now we have the show, and then then we have the close. But yeah, after I think that between working with you and my price changes and all that stuff, I think that yeah, it helped greatly to 2x everything immediately, which is
Nice.
exciting.
Yeah, I remember when we spoke when we spoke the first time. Again, you were saying blah blah blah. Everything's going well already. Again, as you just said a second ago as well. Like, and we were just beaten up by referrals, kind of. And it was also something like you were basically never knowing each other, right? Obviously we had some testimonials, but could have also gone wrong, right? And then when we basically started in June, so we talked again, blah blah blah. And when we started in June, I remember you telling me, like, it was even just a couple of weeks ago, where you were like, "No, like there were so many people coming in, I just didn't expect that." So
Yeah,
what happened there? Like, just explain that to the people.
that was wild. So, be prepared if you do come on with Marshall Consulting. Have the infrastructure in place first before you push the go button, because I did not have that. And I was basically talking to people and teaching classes and all this stuff myself. When you have, we since changed a lot of things since then to manage everybody. But, initially we had, you know, one appointment, two appointment, three appointments, maybe a week, to like, I got freaking 10 or 12 in one day. And then we just
Yeah.
got flooded and that was like per class. And it was like, we had record numbers of people in the gym and parents going in and out of the gym, and I couldn't talk to everybody. It was a nightmare to even like try to teach class and try to talk to people. I had to like designate a person to be a meet and greet person and a person to talk to people. Like it was chaos, but it was a good. I mean, like I said, it was a big problem, but it was a good problem to have. But it's still a problem. Like I had to set everything up to be able to catch all those people. So I think that now moving forward, after experiencing everything, I've put things in place now to catch every little drop of sand that comes at you, because that was a fire hose for sure. Like you're like, okay, I know you've been drinking from this stream for a second or this little trickle of water, but we're gonna turn it on for real now. And then you're like, okay, I think I can handle it. And then fire hose hits you in the face, and then you're like, oh my god, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off.
Yeah, I would, what I can tell about this, like, I didn't expect that either, and like we have to mention still, like, Andrew's probably one of the most successful clients here at Marsh Consulting, which is obviously fantastic, right? But still, so like, I obviously still didn't expect that either. So I was like, nah, it's fine if we just get like 10 different people booking a class for like one day, right? And so there were like on some days probably like 10 different people showing up in like just one class, which is obviously like impossible to handle it, like especially if you want to sell them after the class, right? Or like just like talk with them afterwards. It's gonna be nearly impossible, which is basically why we've reduced why we've basically reduced that now to like only being able to like, I think, two people coming in per class. So that would be like a
Yeah,
little bit of a better show, like sales process and stuff like that. But like what I think, and I don't know if you agree with, but with me on that, but I also think like the biggest part weren't even particularly the ads, although they're like I would say like 50% are probably the ads, so let's say like even 60. But I think a huge part was also like just taking care of like all of the website leads, like of just like following up with all of them, like getting them booked properly as well, right? I feel like that was also like one of the biggest aspects since we've started working together. That has changed for you because I can only imagine how it was beforehand.
Yeah, I think the response time, because like well, what's the industry standard is like if you can respond to any inquiry of your gym in the first 2 to 5 minutes, then you could 3x your business, and which is I it's always been said, but I mean I'm literally about to witness it here soon. So it's like it's very true, and especially after we figured out the market muscle thing, where we got my website to be able to get directly linked to you as well. That's going to be a game changer for me as well. One, I got a quieter phone, and two, I get a better, more faster response time because it could be taking place in the middle of the night and I won't even know it. So like because some people will book appointments and try to inquire about your gym at like 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're not even awake, or you're like, I'm not answering that. There's no way. And uh yeah, so now it just goes to you guys, and then you guys take care of it from there. And then we've had just good results and returns on that, and our show percentages are better. And it's just an overall, again, I wouldn't recommend anything else to anybody else. And I think we've had like what three or four people already come on board that I've known that I've talked to you about. Yeah. So about a
Yeah,
lot of my affiliations, my second gym immediately, we're gonna kill it because my second gym is gonna be uh through you guys as well. And yeah, so that'll be an interesting one too.
yeah. Well, to go to that first point, like regarding the website, like in the first couple of months when we worked together, like you had to basically put every single website lead like manually into the CRM as well, right? Which so they
Yeah.
weren't being followed up within like 2 or 3 minutes. They were basically being followed up like 24 hours later. But we still had like really good numbers there, like, right? Like it was still we still hit those numbers that we just talked about earlier, right? But now it's
Yeah.
basically so when there's a website lead, even if they become a lead at 2 a.m., they directly go into our CRM from your website and they basically get like a text message within the first 2 minutes and like but it's still in like a way where it says like this is an automated message at the bottom, so it's
Yeah.
like it won't be weird if someone messages you like 2 minutes after you've put in your information on a website, but because it says it's an automated message, so it's kind of like obvious, but then it follows up with them like organically, but it's still automated, blah 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 blah. That's just like a little bit off the technical side. And obviously those later messages will be all sent out during like realistic hours. So I think that's just gonna be like increasing basically numbers by, as you said earlier, like if you follow up with someone within like the first 2 to 5 minutes, it's just gonna like double your business, your profits, whatever. So we haven't even done that, so we should be on track to doing that again now with just doing that, I guess. But anyways,
Oh man, I still get dings of appointments booking at 2 o'clock in the morning. I just that sounds my phone. So I do like the fact that I get notified that I have an appointment booked for X or whatever date, but I just like keep my phone after hours on like do not disturb, but like vibrator or silent, and
yeah,
just wake up in the morning and say, oh, you have 10 new appointments booked. I'm like, yes.
I agree. I also agree with like working with other schools now that you've referred to us. Like, so we always have like this map of like schools we're working with, and like then there's like an area around them because you don't want to work with like two schools in one area, obviously, right? So
Yeah.
now like the entirety of Florida is basically almost completely mapped out of like schools we're working with within Florida, right? Obviously, Florida is huge, so there's still like a lot of space, but it's just like an interesting to see, and like who knows, like maybe some of the other guys who came about will also be sitting right where you're currently at in like one of these interviews within like the next couple of weeks or months. I'm pretty confident in that. But yeah, that's interesting. So one last thing, Andrew, you've kind of mentioned it already. It's kind of let's get to the point where I'm basically asking you to sell what we do, so to speak, right? So let's say there's like another gym who's maybe watching this or who's thinking about coming on board or whatsoever. What would you say should they come on board, and what would you say is like their biggest benefit of coming on board with us, basically?
I would say, I mean, definitely my first year of business is probably, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that would have been a better investment toward my gym. Because if you think about how money's made in a gym in general, it's literally get more people in the door or make people cost more money. Like that's the only way, like increase the price of per person or get more people in the door. And you guys definitely get more people in the door and then handle it in a non-stressful way. So I think that a person that's two things. One, you're going to get a good influx of people coming to your door, but also you as a gym owner are going to have a lot of other crazy things to do and worry about in lieu of teaching classes. Like, so you got to do classes and all the other stuff that you have all this admin stuff you got to do. They take a pretty huge chunk out of the stress pool of things you have to stress about. And that was a huge thing too. Like, again, you're basically, I call you like one of my employees. Like, it's like you basically work in the gym too without being in the gym. And so that huge, um, that's a huge thing. And I wish that I could have, I wish that I had known what I know now. Obviously, everybody says that when it comes to GoPro, but even when I asked my buddy about it, I was like, hey, they're not doing so well. I should get with these people. And he tried to say, no, they do well. And then he wasn't even, their ads weren't even on. So I was like, you were just saying this because you know this girl personally. Like, that's not, you know what I mean? So anybody that I come across that's brand new trainer or new, I'm sorry, not a new trainer, new gym owner. I mean, I randomly ran across one and they signed up with you too. Like, I was like, hey, bro, like, this is a huge burden to have. Uh, to do all this admin stuff and all these take all this call volume and do all this stuff is really hard. You don't want to miss the opportunities. This guy will catch all those opportunities and turn them into appointments, and then it's just up to you. He'll bring you to this ocean to drink from, and you just have to start drinking. So we'll see if you can handle that. So I would say best money I've spent uh, in like for anything, best investment I should say, ROI, return of investment on anything I've spent money on so far since being a gym owner. Um, yeah, so I would say that's the I don't think there's going to be anything bigger. I think I'm just going to extrapolate on what is already being done.
Yeah,
So I'd say that's the biggest thing.
I really appreciate those words. There are not many other things in life that make me that happy, to be honest, than like hearing this stuff, to be honest. But yeah, I really appreciate it, Andrew. Let's see what we can do in the future. And any last words from you, Andrew? Anything you want to say before we end this?
Uh, Join Marshall Consulting, man. I mean, it's not you're not going to waste your time or money. Plus, it's like a pretty good, you have a good like try us out. If it doesn't work out, quit. Like, worst case scenario, it doesn't. What it's not working what you're doing right now. Like, make the change, make an adjustment. Like, whatever you're doing now isn't working. Do this instead. See if it works. I mean, again, I 2x my first month. Not that it may happen in DU, but it happened for me. So
I really appreciate it, man. All right, then I want to having a wonderful day who's watching this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.